Hi everyone, it's Jess, aka Colouring Bumblebee, and I'm back today with another video for you. Today is the wrap up for my Lonely Pumpkins 13 Days of Halloween colouring series that you may have seen here on YouTube Shorts or over on Instagram. On every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday of the month of October, shared a page that I coloured, sped up to 1 minute roughly, and I have coloured 13 pages this month from the book, which is really exciting to have a good chunk of pages done in a book, especially as there are 93 in this compilation book. It is quite thick, as you can see, as it's 3 books combined into one by Usiku. She has Lonely Pumpkin 1, 2 and 3, or Lonely Pumpkin Had a Great Fall as a compilation of all 3 of them. I was colouring in this one, and today I'm going to be flipping through, talking about each of the pages. I will be showing the short on the other side of the screen so you can see that along with it as a compilation. If shorts aren't your thing and you prefer a longer, chattier video, this is for you. If you want to hear some more details about my thought process of each of the pages that I coloured, this is also for you. So I've got each of the pages tabbed here, numbered, and we will start with day 1. So you can see a sneak preview of another page there. So day 1 is this page. This is Pumpkin Harvest, and was the first page I coloured for this series. In fact, it wasn't the first page I coloured in this book, but it was the first page I filmed for the series. And this was when I realised that this was going to take quite a while because I finished filming this, expecting it to take, 20-30 minutes with this page. It took me over an hour. And then I was like, oh no, I've got to edit this down into a 1-minute video. How am I going to do that? I was really unsure about it, but I managed to get it done and it all turned out okay. So for all of these pages, I used Ohuhu alcohol markers and the occasional touch art alcohol markers. Like I know that's the green for the boots there, as my olive green Ohuhu marker ran out of ink. I wanted to do a variety of different colours for the pumpkins here and kept the colour palette quite simple, brought in the colours with the autumnal leaves here. And I thought it'd be fun to give her some green welly boots to match with the leaves of the pumpkins. Nice dark blue night sky. These bigger stars were already there, and the little ones I added myself with a silver gel pen. And you can see with the moon, I did a silver gel pen, but I also used a white prisma to go around the moon and create this sort of glowing effect. So I thought that was really fun. And yeah, I think looking back, this is actually one of my favourite pages I've done from the whole book, this series. So that was day 1. Day 2 is near the front of the book. This is Fishbones, and this is a page I would not have picked out for myself to colour. It didn't appeal to me, it didn't attract me, but the way I selected my pages was with my flip through of Lonely Pumpkin that I put out at the end of last month. I asked people to comment below pages they'd like to see me colour. I wrote all of them down and put a mark next to each one when they had someone request it. And any page that had 2 or more people request it, I made sure I coloured that one. And then the rest, I think that gave me 5 pages, and then the rest I picked from. So I thought I'd get this one out of the way with quite early on. I quite enjoy the fact that it's a different colour scheme to all the other books. I don't tend to use this sort of muted greeny blue colour, but I really liked it for the water of this. And the way I coloured it was I coloured the grass leaves in one colour, and then I went over the top with a blue marker to give it this sort of underwater effect. And then I shaded these fish bones with the same greeny blue that I used for the water to make it look like it was actually underwater. and it is a simple page. No glitter on this one, just a little bit of white paint pen highlights. And that was day 2, fish bones. Then we have a bit of a simpler page. It was at this point where I was starting to regret doing this series and starting to worry if I'd ever complete it. And so I thought, you know what, let's pick an easy page. I put up a poll and this one won out. I think all the options I picked were ones that people said they'd like to see me colour, so I put them all as options for a poll to see which one won out, and this one won. I didn't want to do a background for this page to keep it simple, but when I saw it I thought, let's do rainbow stars. And again, the larger ones were already drawn in by Usiku, and I added in the smaller ones and outlined them all with a gold glitter gel pen. You can see the shine there, and outlined the moon as well. This was one of the quicker pages that I coloured, as it didn't have a background. It was just Lonely Pumpkin and Boo, which is what I've called the dog if you didn't realise. And this is just, it's a fun page. I like all the rainbow stars. It's a different one compared to the other ones. Then I have day 4. This was a page picked out by my dad. I got my dad and my mum to pick a page for me to colour, and I coloured those. So he picked this and challenged me to use a different colour for all the leaves, but keep sort of similar shapes, the same colours. So I got out all of my orange, yellow, dark green, leafy toned markers and some browns as well, lined them all up, and I went through and coloured leaf by leaf. I thought this page would be really quick. It was actually one of the longer pages that it took for me to colour, but I really enjoy colouring leaves. It was really relaxing. So for each leaf I coloured it the base colour, then I took the next darkest shade, shaded a little bit on the outline of the leaves with that, then coloured the next lot of leaves, and then went through it like that. So it was a fun page to colour. It was easy, it just took a long time. And for the background I wanted to go for something bright, as I'd done a lot of night skies so far, and I knew I would be doing a lot of night skies. So I went for a light blue. My lightest blue marker had already run out, so I had to go a shade darker. This isn't my favourite shade of blue for the background, but other people have said that they like it. So annoyingly I got cut off there, but I was talking about this page, and I think I got to talk about the background. Pretty much finished talking about this page actually. I had a lot of fun colouring this one, and that was for day 4 of the series. Then there's day 5 is here. This was a page picked out by my mum. The previous one was by my dad. And the way she picked this one was I gave her the book to pick a page from, and she just opened it randomly and went, do that one. So I was like, okay. And funnily enough, this was actually part of the poll for ones from my day 3 with the simpler page, because I was wanting to do something simpler. Oh, I can't find it now, but you just saw it with the rainbow stars. This was also an option, so I was secretly hoping this one wouldn't win, as my mum had already picked it at this point, and it would have meant that I had to think of another page to colour eventually. But I was really stuck for a colour scheme for this page. So I went back on Usiku's Instagram and went through her old posts as she uploaded these as part of, I think it was Inktober 2022 or 23, something like that. And she used this muted pink colour for the background of a lot of her pages. So I thought, oh, I like that. I'm going to try using that. This is a colour I don't often use with my colouring books. I think it was from the Ohuhu pastel tone set. And then I added glitter gel pen around the stars and the moon, and in this crystal orb here, which I believe accidentally got cut off in the video, so you couldn't see me colouring that, so I do apologise for that one. But I really love how this turned out. I love the limited colour palette. I just think it looks really cohesive and really effective. So that was day 5, and that was What Will Come of This. Day 6, another fairly simple page. And this is Night Flight. Yes, with Lonely Pumpkin and Boo taking a flying lesson through the sky. Now this was a blank sky background with stars outlined, and I started this page differently than all the others. Usually I start with her head, but this one I started with the background because I just wanted to get it done and out the way with. And I penciled in these wispy clouds and tried to avoid them as best as I could with my blue alcohol marker, as I thought it would make the background a little bit easier to colour having these clouds and add a bit of extra interest. And then I went over the stars with a white gel pen, no, not white gel pen, white paint pen, as I had gone over the outline of the stars on quite a few of them, so I needed to clean it up as we had a bit of bleed through from the blue. But then I felt like it was missing something, so I added the gold gel pen, glitter gel pen, to the star and the moon. So it's got this kind of glowing effect with the white outline and the gold glitter gel pen within the star itself. I really like this one. Again, a simple page, but nice and effective for day 6. Day 7, we've got a very different colour scheme. We have a lot of purple on this page. This is bats! Exclamation mark. And as soon as I saw it, I saw purples and I thought I'm going to go for it. And I coloured the background purple, and I left these wispy bits from the cauldron clear because I thought I want to have a purple potion, but how am I going to do it? Then I thought I would go over all of it with the same purple alcohol marker, and then I used a white Prismacolor pencil, which you saw in the video, and I just went over that to create this sort of see-through, smoky kind of effect to it. And then I added this purple glitter gel pen around some of the outlines for it to give it a bit of shiny effect. And I did the same thing with these bubbles, with the white outline and the glitter gel pen. It took a long time to do the white outlining, but I love how it turned out. And it was a lot of purple. I knew I definitely wanted to do a purple page with this because orange and black, purple, also very Halloween inspired colours, so I wanted to have one like this, and this was the page that I did it for. Really like how that turned out, even if it is extremely bright compared to all the other pages. So let's go to 8. Here's page 8. Got some crumbs in the middle, T for 1. This was a page that received multiple votes to colour, and the previous page was as well, I think. And I wasn't sure what to do for the colour scheme. I had a bunch of different ideas for this couch. I thought red, and I thought no. And I thought purple, but I was a bit purpled out from the previous page. In fact, I got a comment on this video saying, I wish you did a purple couch, but then I watched your previous one and I understand why you didn't. Yeah, I was feeling a bit purpled out after that one. So I thought, black, let's keep it simple. And this was kind of the start of my obsession with the orange, black, brown colour scheme, keeping it very limited. Wasn't sure what to do with the books, but I just incorporated the same colours that I'd used on the rest of the page, kept the wallpaper really simple with this cream and sort of pale sagey green, just so you're not having too much attention put towards it. I love this page though. I like how cohesive it looks. I added a bit of wood texture to the floorboards and the boards here with the alcohol marker, just doing some flicking motions to create this sort of wood grain texture effect. I think out of all of them, this might be my favourite that I've done. We'll see at the end. I'll go through my top 3 maybe. So that was day 8. Yes, day 8. T for 1. And then day 9, I was needing or wanting another simpler page. So I put some poles up, and it was very close between this one and the knitting one. Kept flip-flopping between which one was winning, which one was second. And at the time I filmed this one was winning, but then I think after I filmed it, the other one was winning. Then it changed back again. But this was the page I did. I knew I wanted to have some nice bright green frogs, and I wanted to do a muted blue-grey for the background for the rain. And to create the rain effect, all I did was I used the same colour alcohol marker for these lighter stripes you see, and just did a flicking motion down so it creates that sort of raindrop effect. And then I got a darker colour and did the same thing. And I went over, because Usiku had put some lines for rain here, I went over those with a white gel pen, I keep saying gel pen, I use paint pens, with a white paint pen. And it was really easy, quick, simple, effective to do, and I really enjoy how it turned out. The only other page I did from the first Lonely Pumpkin book, as they are much more simpler pages compared to the other ones. They're a lot more appealing to people to colour, I think. So this was the Frog Wizards page for day 9. In day 10, we have the first page with Boo, the little dog, our little Lonely Pumpkin's best dog friend. And this page is aptly named New Friend, where she meets Boo in the graveyard. Looking a bit worried, but we can see Boo is a nice, happy little guy who wouldn't hurt anyone. This, I used a very limited colour palette. I used a warm grey for the stone and outlined that, a brown for the vines, brown for the ground, and a blue night sky to contrast nicely with the greys and the browns as a bit more of a pop of colour. I like the balance of this page. It isn't my favourite in the book, but it was one that had 2 votes, so I knew I had to colour it. But I really do like how it turned out. I just like these simple colour palettes. I did think about doing different shades of grey for each of the headstones, but then I thought it might look a bit messy, and I'm glad I went with the one colour. So that is day 10, New Friend. And day 11, Bath by the Fire. This was another page that had 2 votes on it, and I put this page off until very close to the end because there was a lot of brown tones in here. And as I said earlier, I didn't have a lot of brown tones. But it turned out that I quite liked this light brown combination that I had created throughout the book. And I kept it simple with my orange and black colour scheme, used a sort of red brick colour for the fireplace, and added some glitter gel pen to the flame here just for a bit of fun. And I love Boo's little face in the bath. I'm not so sure about the blue I used for the bubbles here, but I just wanted to create something sort of soft and light, and this was the lightest blue I had. I think maybe even like a pale yellow would have looked better to make it more cohesive with the page. On camera it doesn't look as striking as it does in real person, but yeah, that's something I would change about this page. But glad I got it done, and this is one of my favourites from the book as well. So that is day 11, Bath by the Fire. Day 12, we have, is it Walk Through the Woods? Just Through the Woods. And I was at Zoe's. If you know her on YouTube, she is Zoe's Cozy Colouring. I was at her house, we were having a colouring day, and I was approaching the end of my series, and I was like, I still have one day where I'm not sure what page I'm going to colour. Would you like to pick one? And she was like, yes. So she picked this page, and I had an absolute blast colouring this. It was really relaxing, colouring all these trees and doing the mushrooms. And then I wanted to contrast it all with a very dark background. I was going to do black, but I ended up doing a very dark blue-grey that I had in my hoo-hoo markers. And I really like this red colour for the mushrooms. It really makes them stand out against the olivey green I have going on. Love this page. I did make a couple of mistakes, which I'm not sure if you spotted in the video, but these 2 mushroom stalks I coloured green like grass, and they were meant to be the mushroom stalks, and I just went over with a white paint pen, and I think they blend in pretty well now. So glad I did that. I added a few dots to the mushroom caps because I just thought that was a nice finishing touch as well. this was pretty quick and easy for me to colour actually. And the background, especially because you've got all the gaps of the trees, it made it really easy to colour. It wasn't a very large sections at a time, it was all kind of small ones. So that was day 12, Through the Woods. And finally, day 13, the last video of the series, I did Trick or Treat. And I used my favourite orange and black colour scheme for the house. Looking at it now, I think I would pick a different colour for the boards. I think orange would look cool. Even a grey, just to make it look more cohesive, because the brown doesn't necessarily go with all the orange and black we have going on. But I wanted to keep it neutral. And maybe, yeah, the orange would stand out too much, but we've got the orange door to make up for it. But we have Lonely Pumpkin here and Boo going trick-or-treating, wearing some masks, with all the falling leaves around them. These windows were fun to colour black. I wish for this page that I had a black Sakura glaze pen, because I think that would look awesome on this metal fencing, to have the shiny black of the glaze pen of it. But alas, I do not own one, so I just added some white highlights and did some shading with my black marker. So that was our final day for Lonely Pumpkin's 13 Days of Halloween. Or is it? Because I managed to colour one more page as a special Halloween treat. I just coloured this page before I started filming the video. In fact, you will see my colouring process right after this. I wanted to do this page and I was going to have it for day 13, but thought I'm still feeling inspired and this is a very simple page. I wanted to do something very Halloween themed for the end of the series, so I had this one and also the Trick or Treat one. I was umming and ahhing between the two, and I thought, okay, I'll do Trick or Treat as day 13 and this as a bonus at the end of the series. So I have filmed a chatty colour and chat of this page, which you will be seeing literally in this video. I have the timestamp in the description below, so if you wanted to jump ahead and just watch that after watching the short series, you can do that. Or if you want to watch the whole thing, that would be amazing as well. If you want to leave now, if you're not interested in seeing me spend half an hour colouring this page, that's okay too. I added glitter gel pen around the text of Happy Halloween and around the stars. Kept this one simple with orange and black colour scheme, and I decided against doing a background just to change it up a little bit. But that is all of the pages I've done from Lonely Pumpkin's 13 Days of Halloween series. I now have 15 pages coloured in this book, because I did 13 plus the bonus, plus one that I coloured before the series started as an example to show you guys of how I would colour them. I coloured this page as well before the series started. This is the Lost in the Woods page. And it was a lot of trees, a lot of leaves, and a cute one to start with. So I've coloured 15 pages in this book now, which is amazing. I will pause the video here and we will go straight in to the colour along for the final page, the Happy Halloween. I thought it would be fun to colour this final page in the book, the Happy Halloween page, together with you on camera and talk you through my process of colouring it and how I have enjoyed this sort of month of colouring. As always, I've put my sheet paper behind to protect the next page, even though we don't have an image on the next page. And I will get to it. Now, my orange marker that I've been using, and if you're wondering what I've been using, it's been majority Ohuhu alcohol markers. These are the old styles, which have a fine and broad tip and have like an oval barrel design, as compared to the newer design, which has the circular barrel, and this is brush and fine, this version. That's my pastel Ohuhu markers. I've been using the majority of these. These are several years old. I got them before I even started colouring, which is why I don't put the numbers in the description, because I don't think it'll be very helpful if you have Ohuhu markers, because these are the old version with the old numbering system of just the straight number rather than the letters and numbers. So this orange marker that I've been using for Lonely Pumpkin herself has been struggling to survive the last few days. I did try a couple of days changing up for a different marker. But that one was also dying as well and wasn't quite the right tone. But I found if you just use small circular motions, it colours okay and doesn't look too patchy, especially when I go over the top and put a bit of shading in with the darker marker. I think after this page it's time to put this marker in the bin, as it will have completely run its course. If you're ever wondering how to avoid streaks on your alcohol markers, my biggest tip is to keep the page wet and work quickly. So as you can see here, I'm making sure that I'm going in one similar direction, not colouring one section too long, as it is separated by some line work in the middle here. And that just helps to reduce the streakiness of it. I bet you can hear on camera just how dry this is, as well as being able to see it. But I'm almost there. You could do one more Lonely Pumpkin head. And then the only other place I use this marker is on the dog, which I have named Boo, Boo's collar. And that's just a tiny section, so it will survive for that. Okay, she is done. Then I get my darker orange marker and I just do some flicking motions where the artist has placed these lines of where the shading would be, and it just helps to create a bit of texture with it as well. I'm not too particular about this. I just keep adding lines until it looks right, at least to me. And I like to do some at the bottom here, just little flicky motion lines. And her neck shaded. Okay, we'll move on to the stem of her with a light brown. If you hadn't noticed, I do like to use the same colour combinations throughout books to keep it cohesive. And you'll see from the flip through, I really like how they all match together. It's very satisfying to me. And for her eyes and mouth, I use a very dark warm grey that almost looks black. And something I kept forgetting during the series is to do a little shadow on her nose here. I would often go back and do that later. And I use the same warm grey 8 for her dress here. And then I shade this with a black marker. It is a very subtle shading with this very dark warm grey and the black, but it creates a little something. And I've really enjoyed keeping these simple with just alcohol markers to colour them rather than pencil work. I did think about using different mediums at the start of the series, but when it came to actually recording all of them, it took a lot more energy and a lot more time than I kind of anticipated. I thought they would all be quick 20-30 minute pieces to do, but most of them that I coloured took over an hour, and then you have to edit that down into 1 minute clip. That takes a while, trying to make it look smooth but contain all the bits that you want to, and make it an interesting video to watch and not too repetitive. It did take a lot out of my day. I think it was about day 3 I was like, oh my gosh, I've made such a big mistake. Am I actually going to follow through with this? But I went, no. I always tend to, or in the past, I've tended to start series like advent colouring and whatnot, do a few days and then get tired of it, and I was like, nope, I'm not doing it to myself this time. So the way I helped to combat that was I didn't do more than 1 page a day. I thought I might be able to do a few in one day and churn them out kind of like that, but that wasn't something that ever interested me. Once I'd done one, I was done for the day. I wanted to move on to other bits that I was colouring. I decided to just use alcohol markers to make that easier on myself rather than getting out the pencils. And I was glad that I did 3 days a week rather than every other day, because it meant after Saturday I had a few days off with Sunday and Monday where I didn't have any Lonely Pumpkins to film, and that helped me get a better balance and catch up with my life and whatnot. So I'm using a lighter shade of warm grey for her pocket here. This is another marker that has been struggling towards the end here in terms of ink. But as I said at the start of the video, these markers are many years old. And so the fact that they are even still working is kind of amazing. And then I use it for her tights here. Oh, I did the wrong colour away. Oh well. Then I go back with the dark warm grey and do some shading outline here. As I said, I've kept it very simple. I'm not doing like smooth blends or gradients or anything like that. Just some shading lines to add some depth here and there. I've got a warm grey 1 here, one of the lightest warm grey shades I have, to do the white section of her tights, her hands or gloves, as I've kind of coloured them as. I just kind of go along the fingers and shade. And then for her dress collar and buttons here. And that is Lonely Pumpkin done. That is how I have been colouring her for the past month and 13 pages. Moving on to Boo, I like to go along these lines and create some flicking motions to go with the shadows of the fabric here. I like to go along the bottom of the fabric, make some sections a bit darker, but leave a lot of this open and white, as he is a ghost dog after all. I do love this little guy, and he doesn't feature in the first Lonely Pumpkin. He shows up for the first time in A New Friend, which I coloured, where she meets him in the graveyard. And that's the first time Boo makes an appearance. And I think because of that reason, I've coloured more in the second and third Lonely Pumpkin. I only managed to do 2 in the first Lonely Pumpkin book, as what I have here is a compilation book. So it goes through all 3 Lonely Pumpkin books that Usiku has released. But as you can see, Boo is very simple to colour. A little bit of shading with the warm grey, the orange for the collar, and black for his nose. And that's him done. So I think next I'm going to do the flag that he's holding, and I'm going to keep this simple with orange and black colour scheme, very Halloween themed. I think for this pole that he's holding, I will use the lighter warm grey shade as opposed to the darker one. And I've got a slightly darker shade of orange compared to Lonely Pumpkin's head here, just to change it up a bit, and because these ones aren't running out as much. Just colour the stripes of the flag like that. Use my darkest warm grey for the black stripes, and then I will add just a little bit of shading at the bottom of the flag to add some depth and interest, and on this pole as well. So I'll just, as it's quite a thin stick here, I'm just shading on the one side of the pole. Grab my black marker. I'm just going to do a shading up from there. Now, I do apologise that often my hand is in frame when I am colouring. I tried my best to edit it so it wasn't so much of an issue, but it happens where I'm colouring a big background section and I want to go like this and my hand's blocking the camera, but majority of the time it was okay. Oh, this is the dark black. Okay, this is going to be a darker pole than what Boo is holding. That's fine. Yeah, this page is turning out to be very quick and easy to colour. A nice one to talk through my process on camera with you. Oh, this marker is struggling to... Often I find if you go back over a marker when it's running out, it kind of helps to smooth it out when it's still slightly wet. And I will add shading with the black marker. And then I think for the Happy Halloween banner, I'm going to do an orange background, black border and black letters. I think that'll be fun. I think I'll start with the orange background first because you can go over orange easily with the black if I go over the line slightly, which is something that I'm always aware of when I'm colouring with markers. And as we've got a lot of this fiddly text, I thought it'd be better to have that as black. I may even do this text with the pure black marker as opposed to the warm grey, the dark warm grey, just to make it really stark and stand out. Then I'll do my usual dark warm grey shaded with black for the border of this. I think you could tell from my Lonely Pumpkin series I did like to do different colour palettes, but my fave ones to use was orange and black together. It's just super Halloween-y to me, and I often paired it with a dark brown as well. Browns are something I struggled with as my marker set. I love using light browns. And with my markers that I have, all of the light browns have run out, so I'm just stuck with the dark browns, which aren't my favourite to use as they are so dark. I like to start with a lighter colour, shade with a darker one. But the more I coloured, the more I realised, okay, some of these browns aren't as dark as I first thought. Especially with the more detailed pages in this book, I really liked keeping the colour palette simple. Make it easier and quicker to colour, makes the page look nice and cohesive. Oh, I wanted to mention that I did see someone on Instagram has coloured a few of the pages that I have and used my work as inspiration, and that was just amazing to see. I will put their name on the screen now because I want to make sure I get it right, and I can't quite remember it off the top of my head right now as I'm colouring. But they've been tagging me in what they've created, and I love seeing other people get inspired by what I do. And that's what the series was for. It was for inspiring people, and the comments I received, that seemed to help as well, giving you ideas for how to colour these books. Because this compilation book has 93 pages in it. So I could very easily do this again next year for Halloween. I could do some of the less seasonal ones, because there are some pages in the book which aren't necessarily Halloween themed, more just lonely pumpkins doing something else. So I might do them throughout the year, but I think I've definitely had my fill of this book for a while. It's been fun. I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that it's over and I can use the time that I've been colouring these pages onto some other pages. Like, I haven't managed to colour any Chameleon Angel Cova this month because I've been colouring in this book so much, and I tend to use a similar sort of style with the shading and alcohol markers and whatnot. Okay, let's do a little bit of shading with a darker orange. I always use the line work as help when I shade. You can see with this fold of fabric there'd be a shadow there. Do a thin outline around the border. I think for this page I'm going to go with a simple theme, and so that this video isn't too long, I'm not going to bother with the background. And I know I did that with one of my pages. I just did colourful stars and no background, just to make it a bit quicker to complete. And I like the look of it, and it's different to have it changed up. So I think I'll just colour the stars as they are. Right, let's do the border now with my darkest warm grey shade. So seeing someone colour pages and being inspired by how I coloured them made me think that if you ever see something I colour and you like the colour scheme I used, feel free to copy it. I used to do that a lot when I first started colouring. I would look on Instagram, I would look on Pinterest, and I would try and copy how the person had coloured it as best as I could. And it helps you learn, it helps you colour things in a way you may not have done yourself. And I think as long as you give credit to that person, it's perfectly okay. I think if they say don't, but I don't know of any colourists out there that would be unhappy that you copied how they coloured something as long as you give them credit. That's the most important thing. Credit them, because they want to see what you did, and they don't want to feel like their ideas are being stolen and passed off as their own, because it does take a long time to colour a page, and a lot of thought goes into it for us colourists. So as long as you're crediting them, go ahead and copy what they've done. So yeah, if you ever see anything I do and you like it, but you're not sure if I would be okay with you copying it and posting it, I am. Just tag me, because I like to see it. It makes me really happy to know that someone likes what I did so much to try and recreate it themselves. And even if it's not a direct copy, if maybe you just copy one element on the page and then do the rest your own way, or you change up the colour scheme slightly, still tag me. I'd love to see it. Okay, that's that bit done. I'll get the black marker and do the bit of shading here. I'm just going to go around the outline and do simple shading like that. So as my markers have been slowly running out and the selection isn't as big as it once used to be, I have this week ordered the 216 set of Ohuhu alcohol markers. I really wanted to get the brush and fine tip, as that's what I have for the pastel colours, but they're all sold out of that in the EU warehouse, which is where I would get it from. And I was going to splurge and get the 320s, even though I think the 216s have plenty of colours for you to use whilst colouring, and I don't think you'd ever be wanting of more particularly. I thought I'd splurge and go for the 320s, but they added like £30 of tax to it. And I did a bit of research, and it turns out if your order exceeds, I can't remember exactly how much it was like £135, I want to say. If your order exceeds that amount, then you have to pay import fees and taxes, whereas if it's under that, which with the 216 markers that I got, it was under, with a discount code I found for 10% off. It was under, so I got those instead. And the thing that I care most about is the brush. So they're brush and chisel tip. And I like the fine tip on my pastel markers, but I'm really starting to avoid colouring some pages that I want to, because I don't have the colours for it, especially browns and wood tones. I have been putting off colouring a lot of them because I don't have the range of colours I want. I do have another set of alcohol markers, the touch art ones, and those had some good browns, but I used those ones up as well. I like what I like. But the good thing with Ohuhu's is they're starting to do refills and replacement markers, so I will be able to replace some of the colours that I use up and use the most. Which with my track record tends to be light browns and light blues as well, because I love using alcohol markers for a sky background, and I use a lot of light blue with that. It's all the light colours because I like to start light and shade over top with pencils a lot of times. So shading with alcohol markers does often mean that you're using some of those darker ones that you don't always use. Now I'm colouring this, I'm thinking I want to go around the outside of these letters with a black glitter gel pen. I have really enjoyed using glitter gel pen and white pen highlights as an accent on these pages. So I think I might use a glitter gel pen to outline the letters to give it a bit of extra special sparkle and shine. I've missed a tiny bit of the orange there, so I'll colour that. Okay, just the stars left to go. I've got a pale yellow marker that I'm going to use for that, if I get the right side. And I think I will probably outline it with a gold glitter gel pen, as I have liked to do with a lot of these pages, outlined, because Yusuke puts a lot of these stars in the background. So I like to either colour the whole thing metallic or do the outline. Sometimes I colour in the star, sometimes I leave it white. Often it depends on the background. Sometimes I will colour the background first. Sorry, I just had to pause it then as I heard the doorbell ring. It was an Amazon person dumping a package on the step and then running away, as they tend to do. It wasn't for me, it was for my dad, so nothing exciting there. What was I just saying before I got cut off? I think I was talking about sometimes I'll often colour the background first of a page, and because it's Amazon paper and because they're alcohol markers, it will feather and bleed over the lines of the stars. So to crispen them up, I would go over with the glitter gel pen or a white paint pen, and that would depend on how I coloured it. So there we have it. There is the finished page for this last one. Time to add some white pen highlights. So I've just shaken that up. I always start with, oh, doesn't want to work. Sometimes you need to, there we go. So I always like to start with two little eye shinies in Lonely Pumpkin's eyes, little shiny on Boo's nose, highlight on her shoes to make those look shiny, and these poles definitely need a highlight up here. And a couple going down here. And the same on Boo's pole. There we go. Then I am just going to go off camera and do the glitter gel pen, as it will just be me outlining this, and I'll come back at the end. So here is the finished page. I will hold it up to the camera so you can see all the glittery goodness that I added to the stars and around the text. It's hard to pick up on camera, but you can see it just about. It looks a lot better in real life, trust me. So there we have it. That is the final page I will be colouring for this year, I think, in Lonely Pumpkin Had a Great Fall, the compilation book of Usiku's Lonely Pumpkin 1, 2 and 3. I've really enjoyed making this series for you. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And that is it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you thought about this page and the series as a whole. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.